Austin is the only major American tech hub that is not on a coast. No Silicon Valley beaches, no Seattle forests, just limestone bluffs and spring-fed lakes in landlocked Texas Hill Country. It has the third largest LGBTQ+ population in America, behind only Portland and San Francisco. It is the most liberal city in Texas, more progressive than Dallas, Houston, or San Antonio, and it sits inside a state that voted for Trump by over 600,000 votes. But here is what makes Austin genuinely strange. The very things that made Austin unique, the weirdness, the affordability, the culture, are systematically destroying themselves. Austin is not just opposite from other cities, it is opposite from itself. The success story is simultaneously a tragedy. And Austin represents something happening to every American city, taken to its logical extreme. The dormitory that changed everything. In 1984, a University of Texas student named Michael Dell started building IBM-compatible computers from his dormitory at Dobie Center. He was 19 years old. He had $1,000 in startup capital. By 2000, Dell Computer had $25 billion in annual revenue and had become the world's largest PC manufacturer. That single dormitory room created a gravitational pull that transformed Austin from a sleepy state capital into a global tech hub. It set off a chain reaction that would eventually tear the city's identity apart. But to understand how Austin became the opposite of itself, we need to start at the very beginning. The beginning is stranger than Dell. Built where no city should exist. Austin wasn't supposed to be a major city. It wasn't supposed to be much of anything at all. In 1838, a surveyor named Mirabeau Lamar stumbled upon a spot along the Colorado River while hunting buffalo. He was so taken with the rolling hills and clear springs that he convinced the Republic of Texas to build their capital there, in a place called Waterloo, deep inside active Comanche hunting grounds. This wasn't a strategic location for commerce. It wasn't a natural port. It wasn't along any major trade route. The Republic of Texas chose it as their capital in 1839 purely as a symbolic gesture of Western expansion, a flag planted in contested territory. By 1840, the entire population of Austin was 839 people. The city survived Comanche raids, a brief period where the government fled to Houston, and decades of near irrelevance. The Texas state capitol, completed in 1888, was deliberately built 5 feet taller than the United States Capitol in Washington, a detail that captures the swagger Austin would later spend a century trying to reject. From its founding, Austin was a city defined by contradiction, ambitious but tiny, symbolic but isolated, undeniably Texan but already unlike the rest of Texas. For over 100 years, it remained exactly what it was designed to be, a modest government seat surrounded by ranches and farmland, home to state employees and university professors, forgotten by everyone else. Then technology arrived, and everything changed. Silicon Hills rising, IBM opened Austin's first major tech office in 1967. The company was not drawn by lifestyle or culture. They came for the University of Texas engineering program, which was quietly producing some of the best technical talent in the Southwest. Texas Instruments followed in 1969, establishing semiconductor operations. By 1983, the Microelectronics and Computer Technology Corporation had formed in Austin, marking the city's official arrival as a technology center. But none of this compared to what Michael Dell created. Unlike companies that transplanted from California or the Northeast, Dell was born in Austin. It was proof that world-class technology could emerge from Texas soil. You did not need coastal access or established venture capital networks to build a global empire. Dell's explosive growth attracted entire ecosystems. Vendors relocated to be near their biggest customer. Venture capitalists opened offices. Thousands of startups emerged, hoping to catch some of Dell's momentum. By the early 2000s, Austin had over 6,500 tech firms and a new nickname, Silicon Hills. The comparison to Silicon Valley was intentional, but the differences were profound. Silicon Valley had Stanford, beaches, perfect weather, and 70 years of defense industry investment. Austin had none of that. It built its tech empire in landlocked Texas Hill Country. where summer temperatures regularly exceed 100 degrees and the nearest ocean is a 6-hour drive. Austin suddenly had money, lots of it. But money creates problems, and what happened next would define the city's soul. A librarian's accidental manifesto. In 2000, a librarian named Red Wassenich called into KO-Op radio during a pledge drive to make a donation. When the DJ asked why he was giving, Wassenich said almost offhandedly, "I don't know, it helps keep Austin weird." That phrase became a movement. Local businesses plastered it on bumper stickers. Artists adopted it as creed. Musicians spray-painted it on warehouse walls. Keep Austin Weird was never nostalgia or irony. It was a genuine effort to preserve local character against the chain stores and corporate development that had swallowed other American cities. And there was real culture worth preserving. Austin's 6th Street had evolved since the 1970s into the densest live music corridor in America. On any given night, you could walk past 30 different venues, each with a different band, playing blues, country, punk, jazz, or something that defied categorization entirely. Antone's, opened in 1975, had hosted Stevie Ray Vaughan, Muddy Waters, and B.B. King, often on the same bill. The Continental Club had been running since 1955, its stage worn smooth by decades of boots and dancing. Even Austin Bergstrom International Airport had 6 stages where bands performed through arrivals and departures, because in Austin, even waiting for your luggage came with a soundtrack. The city earned a title no other city contests: Live Music Capital of the World. More than 250 live music venues operated within city limits. Per capita, Austin had more musicians than Nashville, more venues than New Orleans, more original music than anywhere else in America. Keep Austin Weird worked. It worked so well that it destroyed itself. Success as self-destruction. Through the 1990s and early 2000s, Austin's affordability was its primary attraction. The median home price in the early 2000 teens was under $126,000, cheaper than almost any comparable city in America. Texas had no state income tax. The culture was thriving. The weather was warm. Thousands of people, especially Californians fleeing San Francisco and Los Angeles prices, started moving in. But success created its opposite. By 2023, the median home price had reached nearly $400,000. That is a 225% increase in a single decade. Properties in East Austin, historically Latino and Black neighborhoods where families had lived for generations, went from $100,000 to over $500,000. Small businesses serving these communities, the taquerias and barbershops and corner stores, were replaced by upscale restaurants and boutiques catering to newcomers with tech salaries. This was gentrification in action. The cruel irony was inescapable. The Keep Austin Weird preservation campaign had worked so well at making Austin desirable that it accelerated gentrification by attracting wealthy newcomers seeking authenticity. The city that attracted people fleeing gentrification elsewhere became the very force causing gentrification. The weirdness became a brand. The brand became valuable. And valuable things get bought. The numbers are brutal. Nearly 75% of Austin area households can no longer afford a home at the median price. For those earning under $15,000 per year, the musicians, the artists, the service workers who created Austin's culture, 91.2% spend at least half their income on rent. The city needs 152,000 additional homes just to reach basic affordability targets, and it is not building them fast enough. Austin developed a housing crisis, but that crisis existed inside a larger war. One Austin was losing badly. Blue Island in a red ocean. Travis County, which contains Austin, scores 3.63 on a 7-point ideological scale, where 7 means extremely conservative. The Texas state average is 4.56. That gap is enormous, larger than the distance between most moderate and extreme counties anywhere in America. Austin is a Democratic stronghold inside a Republican stronghold, and Texas's legislature noticed. In 2019, Austin decriminalized homelessness, allowing camping in public spaces. The policy was meant to be compassionate, to stop pushing unhoused people into dangerous flood zones and isolated forests where they died unseen. Instead, it created visible tent encampments that dominated media coverage. Images of tents beneath highway overpasses became symbols for everything critics hated about progressive governance. By 2021, Governor Greg Abbott pushed to reinstate the camping ban statewide, creating a direct confrontation between state and city. Austin tried to govern itself. Texas overruled it. This pattern repeated across almost every issue. Texas legislators used preemption laws specifically forbidding cities from passing local regulations, to override Austin ordinances on tree preservation, minimum wage, firearms regulations, and LGBTQ+ protections. When Austin tried to require background checks for private gun sales at shows, tech companies and outside lobbying groups spent $8 million fighting the measure. Austin keeps trying to govern itself as the progressive city its residents want. Texas keeps reminding Austin that it exists at the state's pleasure. The political war reveals something deeper about Austin and about every American city trying to chart its own course inside a hostile state. The equation that has no solution. Austin tried to be four things simultaneously: cheap, culturally distinctive, economically dynamic, and politically progressive. That equation has no solution. You cannot simultaneously preserve neighborhood character and allow the growth that creates economic opportunity. The very act of building new offices, new apartments, new infrastructure transforms neighborhoods. You cannot remain affordable while becoming desirable. Desirability is priced into real estate within months. You cannot maintain local control while existing inside a state government that opposes your values and has constitutional authority over you. Every American city that successfully preserved its character, parts of New Orleans, Savannah, Charleston, did so by limiting growth, which limited economic opportunity and pushed young people elsewhere. Every city that embraced growth, Seattle, Denver, San Francisco, lost affordability within a generation. The artists who made Seattle interesting in the 1990s could not afford Seattle by 2010. The communities that made San Francisco vibrant were priced out and scattered. Austin wanted both outcomes. It got neither. The city that was weird and affordable is now expensive and increasingly corporate. The cultural distinctiveness that attracted artists is diluted by waves of wealthy tech workers who moved for jobs, not music. The scene survives, but increasingly in expensive venues rather than the grassroots clubs where it was born. 6th Street still has live music, but now it also has chain restaurants and bachelorette party buses and cover bands playing songs everyone already knows. Austin's story is not just about Austin. It is about what happens to every successful American city taken to its extreme conclusion. What Austin teaches every city. Austin represents the clearest example of the red state, blue city divide that defines contemporary America. As cities grow larger and more diverse, they vote Democratic. As rural areas become more conservative, state legislatures become more Republican. The result is structural conflict. Cities that look and think nothing like their surrounding states are governed by people who resent their existence. But Austin also reveals the gentrification spiral consuming American urbanism. The pattern is always the same. Success attracts people. People raise prices. Prices push out the culture and residents that created success in the first place. What remains is expensive and generic, the opposite of what attracted everyone initially. The city becomes a victim of its own appeal. Between 2010 and 2020, Austin was one of only 7 U.S. cities where the white population drove the majority of growth. Black and Latino populations, the communities that had lived in East Austin for generations, have been displaced to outer suburbs, pushed further from the jobs and culture and transit that make urban life work. The city that represented escape from conformity is becoming conformist. The place people move to avoid becoming like everywhere else is becoming like everywhere else. The question no one can answer. Domestic migration to Austin peaked in 2020 at 48,000 people. By 2024, it had fallen to 14,000. Job growth has stalled. Housing prices remain high while demand softens. For the first time in decades, Austin may face population decline, or at least an end to the explosive growth that defined it. But the deeper question is not about numbers. It is about identity. Can Austin preserve anything that made it different, or has success permanently destroyed the conditions that created success? The slogan, "Keep Austin Weird," has been commercialized, printed on corporate merchandise, sold in airport gift shops, absorbed into the very forces it was meant to resist. The phrase that started as a librarian's offhand comment during a pledge drive is now a trademark. The city is projected to reach 5.2 million people by 2060. Will that Austin bear any resemblance to the Austin that attracted people in the first place? Will there be live music on 6th Street, or will it be another entertainment district indistinguishable from any other American city? Will artists still be able to afford to live there, or will Austin's culture exist only as memory and marketing? No one knows. But what Austin teaches every other American city is this: you probably can't have it all. Growth destroys the conditions that attracted growth. Success, left unchecked, becomes its own form of failure. The things that make a place special are often the first things to disappear when that place becomes successful. Austin is the opposite of every U.S. city because it shows what happens when a city gets exactly what it wanted and discovers that getting what you want can be its own kind of curse.